Good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. My name is Gregory Morgan, and I am the co-founder, along with my wife, Dr. Azita Sayan, of Embrace Growth. And Embrace Growth is an international organization that is dedicated to creating communities of integrity and wisdom and leaving a legacy of love for our future generations. So how we set out to accomplish that is by doing shows like this one. If you're watching our show for the very first time, or watching my show for the very first time, thank you for doing that. This show is all about what works and doesn't work in the area of love and relationships. And so I focus more on the romantic relationships in life. However, we're free to talk about all relationships because our romantic relationships are really just a reflection of all of the other relationships that we've had throughout our lifetime. So I'll be talking about relationships today. I'll be talking specifically about monogamy and infidelity. I believe that in this community, let's say throughout the world anyhow, because there's a lot of communities in which infidelity is very prevalent. However, I have noticed from being with a Persian wife for 15 years and being for the last 15 years involved in the Iranian culture, that there is an astounding level of infidelity and, cheating in marriages, okay? So a lot of marriages break up because of that. A lot of marriages stay together, but the wound never gets healed, and so the unfinished business never gets complete. And so that relationship suffers, the children suffer, the people suffer. They stay together for the children, or they stay together for the public face, to save face in the face of their communities or their families. However, behind closed doors, inside the house, there is a divorce. There is what we call an in-house divorce. And that is, in the public, we're married, but behind closed doors, we're divorced. And so I want to talk about that with you. I know that some of you may be experiencing or have experienced in the past a similar type of situation in which infidelity, cheating, whatever you want to call it, has come into the relationship, either from the man's side or from the woman's side or from both sides, and it's caused a rupture. It's caused a break in the affinity, in the shared reality, the communication, and then eventually those two people move apart and a great deal of animosity gets built up. Animosity or anger gets built up and maybe not expressed, and so it starts coming in through various conversations, through the way you manage your finances, or, as I've seen in many cases, people will often make themselves sick over it, like literally have heart and lung and liver problems. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Before I do that, I'd like to tell you just a little bit more about myself and about Embrace Growth. So for those of you who may be watching for the very first time and have been surprised to see an American guy on the Iranian television channels, believe me, you're not the only one that's surprised. I'm surprised. In the beginning of my life, I never would have thought that all of the various career tracks and changes and studies and public speaking engagements and all the stuff that I've done would have led me to have a television show on an Iranian television channel and be broadcast throughout the world. And now wherever I go in the world, I'm greeted by Iranians who have seen my show, or they've seen my wife's show, so they know about me indirectly or something like that. And so it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to participate with you in your relationships, in your lives, and to contribute what I've learned, what I've come up with, and also the things that I've studied. So I'm not a traditional learner in the average sense of the word. Many people go to school for years and years and years. They study a subject or maybe two or three related subjects, and they learn what other people have said and thought about over the centuries that is accumulated and stored in textbooks. And then they are tested on that. They're required to pass a test to make sure that they either memorized or learned the things that were in those textbooks, and that they're able to repeat them often word for word or be able to express the same idea in their own words. I haven't learned that way. How I have learned is that I have traveled around the world and I've studied from various masters in a lot of different fields. Some of the fields have involved psychology, but most of them have been around ontology, which is the study and science of beingness. I've studied Taoism, Taoist Buddhism, and many other religions that I'm not going to mention all the religions that I studied and learned about. And I was studying religions in the quest for finding what they all had in common. Because one thing I was sure about, and this was from my own direct personal experience, I'm sure that there is an intelligence, call it divine. There is an intelligence that knows itself, that is conscious, that is creating creation, that is creating creation, that is a celebration of beingness, and it's conscious of itself, and it creates by becoming the thing that it creates. It creates a star by becoming a star. It creates a human being, you and me, by becoming us. So it is that when somebody says God is in you or you are in God, that is true in the very real sense of the word, in the sense that you have never been outside of, you've never been detached from or away from this intelligence that is working around you and through you and is actually closer to you than your own skin. When you take the time to go within and to listen to the quietness inside yourself, to shut down some of the mental activity and some of the emotional activity and some of the extraneous external activity that is constantly bombarding your senses, when you take the time to simply close your eyes and go within and listen to your breathing, listen to your heart, then you begin to hear another voice, if you will, another part of yourself, a very wise and eternal part of yourself. Now, I know, because I've been there for many times, that there's all those other voices in your head, the ones that are going, what voice is he talking about? The self-talk. There's a ego part of the mind that's constantly talking. It's constantly expressing words of some kind, thoughts in terms of words and ideas and phrases. So there's some self-talk that goes on inside your head, but that's mainly a mental activity, and it is designed for survival. That's its main reason for being, is the survival of the personality of the self, or the self, not the true self, but the little self, the small selves. It is designed to propagate, to continue to generate an idea of itself and to project that onto the world. And so it's constantly going, constantly going, constantly going, constantly going. It never shuts up, okay? And with a little bit of practice and with a little bit of focus, you can begin to shut down those thoughts and those phrases and that self-talk one by one until you can come to a single still moment in your own heart, in your own mind, in your own soul, where everything seems to come together. And in that moment, in those moments, which you may have only a few in your whole lifetime, unless you're practicing an ongoing practice of daily meditation. And I don't care how you meditate. There's 1,000 different ways to meditate. There's literally thousands of ways and philosophies about what's the right way to meditate. The only one that's the right way is the one that works for you. I've practiced at least 100 different methodologies, and they all have something in common. And that is that your mind gets very still and gets very focused. And in that moment, you have a true and real experience of yourself as being a part of everything that's going on, a part of the universe, a part of nature. And in those moments, nature itself can speak to you. And one of the things that is characteristic of those moments is an enormous sense of well-being, a sense of all is well, a sense of hopefulness, a sense of positive energy, like I'm going to move forward, I can do anything. a sense of not being alone, a sense of being with all that is. So there's a lot of positive aspects in being able to quiet your mind. And I'd love to give you a whole show and a whole class about that and a whole seminar about that, because it's something that I have practiced for about, I don't know, 40 years now. And so, anything that you practice at 40 years, you eventually start to get fairly good at it. And I'm fairly good at this meditation thing and being able to quiet my mind. And then that is one aspect, okay? One aspect of meditation is what we call sitting meditation, where you sit quietly. And then there's another kind of meditation that we call standing or walking meditation, where you're actually in a state of meditation and connectedness while you move about through the world and interact with people and go about your business and do things, but you maintain a high state of being connected to all there is, and you maintain a high frequency vibration, if you will, so that lower frequencies, thoughts and vibrations, people's gossip and attacks or bad energy just seems to bounce off of you. It can't get in. It's like MC Hammer, that rap song, "Can't touch this." You simply cannot. You're immune to lower frequency vibrations because you have elevated yourself to a certain level and frequency through your own conscious effort. Nobody gave it to you. You didn't take a drug or a pill. Nobody blessed you and made it happen for you. You actually got in touch with your own real, true vibration and began to foster that and grow it and strengthen that. Just like if you went to the gym maybe and you lifted weights, the first day it would be kind of heavy and maybe you could only lift it 4 or 5 times or 10 times maybe. But the next day when you go back, you find that you could lift that same weight maybe 10 or 15 or 20 times. And then the next day you go back and you can lift a heavier weight 10 or 15 or 20 times. And then pretty soon what used to be a problem for you just simply is not an issue at all anymore. The very first time you tied your shoes, that was a problem for you. You had to think about it. You may have messed it up and had to go back and try again and again until you got it right. Simple thing like tying your shoes, now you don't even think about that. It's not even on your radar you do it without even thinking. Same thing with driving a car. Same thing with writing. You don't even have to think about certain things. Signing your name, it's automatic because you've done it enough that it's become a part of who you are. So earlier I mentioned the ontology, the science of beingness. The science of beingness is actually not, it's the difference in focus between here I am and there's some place I want to be that's a higher state or a more progressed evolution of myself or a more evolved, refined, sophisticated human being. I really want that, and so I'm going to do the things that you must do to practice and get better and try to become this thing, this image that I hold out in the future. Now, that is the way most people go about living their life. You want more money, you do all the things that you have to do to get more money. You want more love, you do the things that you need to do to get more love. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else and do some more things to try to get more love. You want to have more education and more knowledge. So you do all the things from A to Z to obtain that diploma or to get that knowledge or to get that certification that where everybody looks and says, "Oh, you now know something because this paper says so." I'm here to tell you that there is a higher level. And when I say a higher level, I don't mean that it's better, but I do mean that it is a higher level of frequency. It is a more intense frequency of energy and of living that is available, and that it is perfectly natural to human beings. It is perfectly natural. It's not something that is weird or strange, although when people who don't know about it talk about it, they act like it's weird or strange. But that's like if you went to an African tribesman and you tried to tell them about a laser or a propane flame, they would think that was weird or strange because they'd never seen that kind of light, that kind of heat, that kind of frequency, if you will, of sophistication. So it's not weird or strange at all to be able to have what I'm about to say is direct knowledge of things. You begin when you get in touch with your own interior higher vibration by consciously bringing that practice into your life. Then you begin to attract into your life other people who are on the same type of pathway. You see, other people of a similar frequency begin to tune in and show up in your life. And other people who want to stay in a lesser vibration, in a lower vibration, they simply lose interest, or they detach from themselves, or they'll literally take themselves away from you and say, well, we don't see things the same way, because it's time for you to move on. When you begin to bring a higher vibration of energy and compassion and understanding and love and connectedness to nature, to God, to the universe, call it what you will, call it what works for you, okay? But call it something. When you begin to get connected with that and tuned into that, then you begin to have knowledge that did not go through a process of reasoning and logic. You begin to have a kind of direct knowing. Now, some people want to call that intuition. That's fine. You can call it that if you want to. I believe that there's something beyond intuition, which is kind of a feeling or a thought about something. There's another level of that I'm going to call direct knowing. There's a way of just knowing certain things. And you've experienced this, regardless of where you're at in your life, in your education, in your spirituality, in your marriage, regardless of your age. Every human being has experienced a kind of direct knowing. And I'd like you to just look back in your life and see where there were times where you just knew something. And it didn't go through any process of logical reasoning to get to it. You simply knew it. How did you know that? How did you know that? There's a way of just knowing certain things. Now, when you knew those things in your past, did you trust it, or did you have to go check it out and look it up on the internet and read some books about it to find out about it and make sure that this thing that you knew internally already, did you confirm it or verify it for yourself? Because if you did, that's how I've been educated. You see, First, I knew some things, and then I went and studied things that would help me find out if that was true or not, if that worked or not, if it was just a hunch or intuition, or if indeed this direct knowledge that came to me was just my imagination, or whether it had any validity in the world. And I was always astounded to find that far greater minds than my own had put lifetimes of thought and study and writing and care into areas of human development and spirituality and psychology and ontology, just plain old common sense. Some things are just plain old common sense. You know, if you just, and I guess you could say common sense is logical. Yes, it's part logic and part like obvious so I call it plain old common sense, that great minds had done a great deal of study and writing about the things that I somehow came to know through being connected, through meditation. So this is not necessarily a show about meditation, but it is a message that I wanted to deliver with you today, because when you get in touch with that, when you take the time to refine your own life and quit waiting for somebody else to do it, quit waiting for somebody to teach it to you, quit waiting for somebody to, that's ordained or that wears a robe or a funny hat or something to tell you that's it, this is how it is because God said so. No, quit waiting for that. Quit waiting for that, because they may not know. They may just be saying what they've read and studied and been told to say for centuries without ever really truly checking it out in their own heart to find its validity. Okay? So when you begin to listen to your own heart and begin to follow that listening, sometimes you'll make a mistake. Ha, too bad. Sometimes you make mistakes. But when you're listening to your own heart, sometimes you'll get hurt, sometimes you'll make mistakes, but you will live a full life. And you will live a life that's worth living and that makes a difference for other human beings. And in the process, you will become what you have always been. That is infinitely wise, amazingly resourceful, and the most important part that I want to say about this today is you will become true. You will have a natural sense of loyalty, a natural sense of integrity, and a natural sense of personal honor and mastery. This is my message to you today about that. Hello, this is Gregory. We're live on the air.
Hi, Gregory. A quick question is about, it's kind of related to what you were talking about. It's about thinking about certain things and then you get the results, later on in your life. It happened to me. I had a certain, kind of thoughts, and then eventually I got the results, and it was really amazing. Amazing that things can happen. But at the moment, I'm trying to focus on certain things that I badly wanted. But whenever I try to focus on it, some kind of thinking coming to me saying that how that would happen. I know that I should leave the house and put them aside and let the universe decide about it. And like I told
That's
you,
really
I
smart.
had the experience of these things happen, but I cannot control myself, and still those bad things, those bad thoughts got back to me, and make me really stressed. I don't know what to do.
Oh, well, it's great. Thanks for calling about that. I'm sure a lot of people have that question, and it's certainly one that I've had to keep working on. It's not one that really goes away, but you can begin to get some mastery over it. Okay? And so here's the thing. The word want means to desire without having.
No, not really.
Okay, the word want. You say there's something I want really badly.
Yes.
Right? The word want.
Yes.
Want means to desire without having. In other words, if you had it, you wouldn't be wanting it badly. You would be having it completely.
Yes.
So to want is to desire something that you don't have without having it. It's a language, okay? What I'm teaching you right now is part of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, okay? Because
Yes.
our mind works with language. Yes? That's how it gets triggered. We store things in our subconscious that are accessed through words, self-talk, right? So the words we use reveal our process, our mental process. And so in the same way, the right words can unlock a mental process that may be blocked. So you say, I desire very badly without having something. That's really what you said, even though that's the subcontext of what you said, even though you said there's something I want very badly, right? Innocent enough statement. However, it reveals that you are in the not having domain with regards to this thing. Now, is it a thing, or is it a state of mind, or is it a situation or relationship or a circumstance? Can you say some more about the thing that you want that you don't have?
Well, I really, I cannot explain what is that I'm really focused on. It is kind of very private, but because I'm really interested in this sort of subject, and like I told you, I really want this result. So I know that I read about this subject and, through the related, programs and books and these things. And I know that, I have to really use of good words, like I told you.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this. I don't expect you to tell me what it is. I wouldn't want you to tell me what the private thing is. You don't need to. What I'm trying to find out is what realm or world does it live in? In other words, is it a situation? Could be like a relationship or a job or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, this is relationship.
Okay, great. Well, if it's in the world of relationships, that is a dicey one in the sense that if it's a relationship with a specific person, of course you can influence a person's thinking to a certain extent, but ultimately you can't control anything that another person does, right?
Yeah.
They're going to do whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And this is actually the thing that make me that's the things that challenge me, because if it was generally relationship,
right,
I could say that I want this kind of person, blah blah blah, and leave it by the work of the universe. But now I met that person, but I don't know what to do, to get what I want.
Okay, so
this is the bad thing.
Thanks for sharing that much, because now I can help you more. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Now I can help you more. Now that we know it's a relationship. So like you said, if it was just a relationship of you could work with that. But now that it's down to a specific person, right? Now that you've kind of focused on a specific person, you have to have a shift in attitude with yourself, okay? And with yourself, I would use these words, this or something better. I now have this or something better, and it is in the having of it. In other words, if it was a car or a house or something like that, if it was a thing, right? People aren't things. People are events that are discovering and happening all the time. Even the person that you're talking about is discovering who he is all the time. So he's constantly changing. He's an event in progress, right? Just like you are, right? You're an event that's unfolding. You don't know how you're going to be 20 years from now, right?
Yeah.
So if it were a thing, you could focus on this thing, and my advice to you would be in terms of holding an image and thought with emotion in your mind and in your heart of actually having that thing. I would even tell you, let's say if it was a car, to go down and sit in one of those cars, right? And turn on the motor and really have that car, and you will see that or something better will come into your existence very, very quickly. However, with a person, you have to say this or something better.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. But the things, and actually I ended to this result with just focusing on it, by myself. And that's why I absolutely, agree with you. But another thing I have to tell you that makes me really stressed about this particular person is that before knowing him, I was, kind of designing my, favorite kind of man.
Okay.
And then, without knowing him. And then he showed up.
He showed up, right?
Showed up. And then I found, oh my God, this is exactly the one, the person I wanted.
Right.
And that makes me, stressed that, maybe I, just by doing something silly or, having negative thoughts or, this kind of thing, I lose it. This is the thing that makes me more stressed.
Yeah, you sort of jinx it by getting all excited about it.
I spend the time for, like whole day positive thinking, that everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, just something can come up and, make me really stressed that, all of things was stupid, that how that's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And ruin all the positive things of the day.
So let me ask you this. Let's first just clarify a couple of things. Is this person available?
How do you mean available? Yes.
Well, they're not married,
And
going with a girl, living with
no,
somebody.
He's available.
He's available. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's good. Do you communicate with him?
Kind of.
Yeah. I mean,
Kind
well,
of.
do you see him, or do you speak? Do you write emails, or?
Well, I talked to you about this person before,
Okay.
5-6 weeks ago, and it's a kind of the problem is that it's kind of a professional relationship. It's not like
I
a
understand.
love or friendship kind of
Right.
relationship.
I got it.
It's a starting. I'm one of his clients actually,
So yeah.
and this is the thing that makes me really hesitate to approach, or maybe that hesitate him to approach me. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I recall now this conversation. Thank you for jogging my memory, because
Yeah.
I recognized your voice, but I wasn't sure from where.
Yeah.
So, it could be that he's being professional and not being, not leaving any kind of thing that he could be reproached for by one of his
Yes.
clients, right? I mean, you're his client, and so, the proper thing to do if you have a client is to not flirt with her, or
Yeah. Absolutely.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That would just be the business-like way of being, and maybe he's just being an honorable man
Mm.
and a good businessman by not having any innuendo or intrigue with one of his clients.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is kind of an interesting situation. The fact that you're his client, you're not going to be his client forever, right?
Yeah. No.
Right.
No, I won't.
So
No.
there'll be a
But
time.
the thing is that it makes me worse thinking that, okay, at the end of the business, so it's bye, goodbye, and everybody goes to home, and that's it, and finished. This
Yeah,
is the thing.
that would, yeah, that.
I'm kind of a girl that really wants, men be a hunter. I don't want to, pursue the
Pursue
relationship.
them.
I really don't like it. I can do that, but I really wouldn't be happy with the result.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
very
saying?
good, very good. You're on the right track as far as that's concerned. Well, if a man was hunting a deer, and he came to this clearing, and there was a deer in the clearing, and he came back the next day and the deer was still in the clearing, uh, he might get the idea that that was an available deer. So depending on if he's hunting a deer, he may not. In other words, in this metaphor, you would be the deer that would keep showing up in his clearing. Okay.
Mm.
In other words, you got in touch with something. Let's say with you and the universe got together, and this thing showed up. Right? This person
Yeah,
showed up.
absolutely, yes.
All right. So don't break your harmony with the universe just because something showed up. Right? In other words,
Right?
stay plugged in. Stay connected.
Spirit doesn't let me to do so. Before knowing him, I was all right. I was absolutely all right. And now, like I told you, Spirit not losing him.
I know that's the problem. It's cute and darling, and I love it. But I'm gonna sort of say something on women so don't be offended. Women get crazy when they meet the guy, and you lose all your good sense.
Yes.
The emotionals take over, and the logic thing just is out the window. It's a terrible malady.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost better to go out with a guy that you're not that crazy attracted to, so that you can at least keep your senses about you.
Yes. Things with those kind of person, everything goes very well.
Yeah.
You are not that desperate, and you're relaxed, and everything goes very well.
But when you meet the one, forget about it. You lose all your good sense. So this is just to tell you, get connected to your good sense, right? Get connected to your good sense. You're absolutely right. Don't pursue the guy, but make yourself available in such a way that he can really get that. Besides being his client, you have a personal interest in him, and you can do that with listen, 57% of all communications, people think that words matter. Words matter like 7%, okay? 57% to 60% of all communication is nonverbal and is physical. It's body language. It's especially eyes, okay? Because we are the most advanced primates on the planet, but all primates communicate with the eyes extremely well.
Yeah.
Okay? Nonverbal communication through the eyes has been the most ancient way that we've always spoken with each other, and so we have very deep and profound. This is how babies learn how to behave. Did you know that? Through their eyes. They watch how people behave, and that's how they learn. That's how they learn if you're happy or sad or angry with them. All of that they learn through their eyes.
Yeah.
You see? So we have a profound connection with our eyes. Now, I don't know if you've been to any of our trainings, but one of the,
Yes.
you have?
Yeah.
Have you been when we
the
did
workshop.
where we did the flirt training? Were you there when we did the flirt training?
And I've got your works. And,
Okay.
I've got your CDs and 12 stages of relationship.
Okay, so do you remember the part?
Of love, everything.
Thank you. Thank you. You're my favorite kind of client. So do you remember the part about flirting for women?
Yes, yes, I know, through the eyes and
about looking in a man's eyes.
A smile and,
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, if you look in his eyes for 5 seconds, believe me, he will know everything that there is to know about you and your interest in him. And if you look in his eyes for 3 seconds, you'll be telling him, I see you, I see you're available or whatever, but I'm not interested. You got to spend the full 5 seconds. I don't know why. I didn't make up this rule. It's an observation from psychocybernetics that people have studied and done tests on, okay?
Yeah.
So I didn't make up that exercise, but it's well known.
And no smile during that 5 seconds?
During that 5 seconds, your mind is going berserk.
Yeah, I just asked during those 5 seconds, no smile during those 5 seconds.
Well, yeah, you don't have to be serious. Of course, you can smile, but you want to smile in a way that lets him know that, hey, I like you, I'm available, I'm approachable.
But the thing is that in this country, everybody keeps smiling all the time. So
in this country,
the
what?
eyes are smiling. So how that particular person realized that this kind of thing, looking through the eyes and smiling would be different. How can I convey that message?
You know that nobody looks in anybody else's eyes for 5 seconds. Hardly ever. Not like that. Not like you know how to look at a man, right?
Yeah.
If you just look at if you just look at somebody's eyes like a staring contest, that's not going to work. It's not like just looking blankly or like a staring contest. I'm talking about you want to be in your heart, be in your radiance, be in your magnificence as a woman, and simply smile and make yourself understood. Make yourself understood. You don't have to have words for that. You can make yourself understood directly. And, listen, it might make you very, very nervous, and it might make him very, very nervous. But your communication will have been made, and there won't be any doubt as to whether or not that got delivered. You see? It's not like sending a letter and you don't know if the person ever got it, and so you have to call them up and say, did you get my letter? No, you got you'll know he got the message, because you'll notice things. The eyes will become larger. The skin will may become flushed. He may break into a smile. A lot of things. Notice the physical attributes as well, because when somebody's gotten your message, right? You know. I know.
Yes.
Yeah, people know when you've communicated to somebody and they got it.
And in fact, that actually you said in your CD that men really, easily can read these kind of messages.
Yeah, we're hunters, and so we're trained to read that stuff. I mean, we've evolved to read that stuff. We read all kinds of subtle stuff. Okay, I hope this helped you. Stay connected. Don't get silly in your head because he's the one. Because guess what? Maybe somebody else is going to come along that's even better. So you don't know. So if you overly focus on one person, then you make yourself crazy.
Yes.
And by make yourself crazy, I mean you get overly focused on one. Does he like me? Does he not like me? Will he call? Will it work? Will it not? You know, it becomes an either or type of situation. It becomes very black and white. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he loves me not. You know that old thing of them tearing the he loves me not thing. It becomes either or, and that is, and sometimes that's a good situation, but when it comes to other human beings, you want to leave it open. Like maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Mm.
You know?
Yes.
And then know where you stand. I care about him. I want him to know it. So make your communication. Listen, if he doesn't get it, if he doesn't go, hey, I wonder if we could maybe, when I'm done with the job, the work here, or whatever it is that you're doing, if maybe we could, I don't know, have a cup of coffee or something.
Mm.
You know, or offer the guy some coffee or something. Okay?
Okay.
One of my best friends.
You mean that I suggest that things, or he, wait for him to suggest that?
I would let him know that you're available for coffee. You know, like let him make the invitation, but just let him know that you're available for that.
So it would be okay if I, suggest that thing.
What do you think? I don't know how close this situation
because you're
is.
just all the time saying that you just have to wait for them to pursue the relationship and step forward and come to you and this thing. So by saying that going for the coffee wouldn't be either one that
without ever inviting me for coffee. My wife, when I first met her, and I didn't know her name or anything, she let me know that she really appreciated me, that she admired me, and that she respected me. And it took her about 15 seconds to do it. But when she walked away, I was like, she likes me, It was clear,
Yeah.
She likes me. And so I don't know how you girls do that, but you're very good at it. She just came up to me. I had spoken at some workshop that she was in, and I was on a panel and I spoke there, and then I don't know, I ran into her 2 or 3 weeks later, I guess, and she said, you spoke at this thing that I was at, and I wanted you to know that I really appreciated you and I respected what you had to say. And after that, I don't remember what she said, because the way she was looking in my eyes while she said it, my mind went foggy. Okay? And I don't remember the rest of what she said, but when she left, I went, she likes me.
So it still would be okay if I say, go and grab a cup of coffee and these sort of things. Maybe.
I don't know how close the situation is or something like that, but you can let him know. What you want to do is let him know that you appreciate him.
Yeah.
When men feel respected, they feel loved. Okay?
Actually, that happened.
When they feel respected, they feel loved.
Unintentionally, without knowing, I did it. It was before I started to have a crush on him.
Yeah.
I just did it because I was really impressed by his job. And I did it. And then, I had a letter from him. Then I found through the words that he really was impressed, by, the way I, dealt with him. So, and then I thought that, wow, God, he got all the items that I want, and he's the one.
Okay, I got it.
And then I had a chance to know about him, more about more about his private life, and then I realized that everything I wanted, he got it.
Great. Well, awesome. I really am interested in how this turned out, so I hope that you will try what I've said. Has this helped you?
Pardon? Yes.
Has this made a difference?
Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah. I hope one day I call you and said, guess what? We are going to get married.
Okay. Great. I would love that.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Gregory.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good day. Okay. We're going to take a brief break, and we're going to be back in just a few minutes on Love Talk. Welcome back to Love Talk. I'm Gregory Morgan. If you're joining the show for the very first time, we're talking about, we've been talking about meditation and getting focused on and causing relationships in your life that are coming from you being whole, complete, and happy in and of yourself. Why? Because you are in harmony with your true nature. You are in integrity with your purpose in life. You have a purpose. There's a reason why you're here. You are unique, and you are a unique and divine expression of the universe. And you are a unique way that the universe is expressing itself, and it only can do it through you. That unique expression that is as unique as your thumbprint, that is only your expression, and you are here to contribute to something. And if you don't make that contribution, it is an integrity issue. It is an integrity issue in that you will never fully be all that you were here to be, and the world will not be given the gift that is coming through you, attempting to come through you and be expressed through your life. And not only that, but instead of giving your gift to the world, you become someone who looks to the world, meaning other people, other things, money, situations, in order to find your happiness. And basically, instead of contributing to the system, you are actually draining the system. Now, fortunately, the universe is so abundant, you, little you, could never drain it. So the truth is, you just drain all the people around you until they finally go away. And so what I want to talk to you about is about bringing your fullness, your full self-expression to the world, to your relationships, to your own life. First, give yourself to you. Give yourself to yourself so that you will have something to give to another. And let me ask you this. Who are you most interested in? Those people in your life, in your environment, men or women, children, whatever, who are trying to get something from you, who are always after you, who treat you with love and kindness because they want something from you? Or are you more interested and attracted to the people who actually want to contribute something to you? People who want to make a difference with you, people who are for you, who actually have put their little petty concerns aside and handled their own life so that they actually have something to bring to the table, something to offer, something to expand your consciousness and your awareness and your sense of self-fulfillment. Me personally, I'm interested in that second choice. Those are the people that I seek out. Those are the people that I'm attracted to. Those are the people that I want to be around. I want to be around. I've spent a lifetime and a fortune going all over the world pursuing people who I felt had dedicated their life, dedicated themselves to making the world a better place, to making the world happier, to making the world wiser, to making the world more peaceful, the world more self-fulfilled, to having more integrity, more honesty, more truth in life. Those people interest me enormously, and I have spent a lifetime pursuing, and still continue to, pursuing the company of people of this nature, and doing my best to be like that, to make a difference for people, to return the gift. So did I want to get something from them? You bet I did. I wanted to learn how to do what they were doing, and that is to make a difference with people. I wanted to learn how to give my best. And so in your relationships, are you a giver or a taker? Are you somebody who's there to offer your happiness and fulfillment to life and to the relationship, or are you there to get something from the relationship? That's one question you really want to ask yourself. If the answer is you just want to get something from the relationship, and listen, you don't have to tell me, just be honest with yourself at least, then you have an integrity issue. It's an integrity issue because you're not giving your gift and you're not being who you truly are in life. You're not being yourself. So what are you doing? Yes? So when I talk about, earlier in the show, I said I was going to talk about monogamy and infidelity or disloyalty. And what I'm going to talk about it in a sense that maybe you haven't listened before. So I asked you to listen with new ears to what I'm about to say. It's not that monogamy or staying true to one person in your life or being loyal to another person in your life is good or bad. It's not that it is the right thing and that not doing it is the wrong thing. Those interpretations, if you will, of loyalty and monogamy and fidelity will eventually have you come up short. And by come up short, I mean simply that there is a understanding or a self-realization. And if you thought of it as a wall or a mountain, and these interpretations of monogamy, infidelity, and all that being a ladder leaned against that wall, they would be a ladder that don't get you over the wall. They would be too short. The understandings may get you someplace, but it's not anywhere that's going to make you make any difference. It's not anything that's going to ultimately have you see the other side of the wall, see the other side of understanding and compassion and that I'm talking at or pointing about. I'm pointing that over on the other side of your darkness, if you will. By darkness, I don't mean evil or anything like that, but unenlightenedness, the subconscious part of you that is not aware of itself. On the other side of that, what we call enlightenment, where actually those things that are hidden come into the light so that they're clearly seen, those require a deeper or a higher understanding of loyalty, monogamy. Now, why am I talking about that? Because I see that it's what works. I see that it's what works, and I see that disloyalty, infidelity, ultimately don't work. It's not that they're bad. It's not that they're wrong. They may be illegal. It may be, it may be if you're married that it's, you're not supposed to do that. But what I'm talking about is being true to yourself, being true to your own word, being true and loyal to one's self, and having that self-expression be fulfilled in a relationship with another human being out of your intention to cause good, your intention to cause longevity, your intention to stay the course even when it is painful or it's dark or it's difficult or you're not connecting. When you're not connecting with the person in your life, it's because you're not connected with your true self. You come home to yourself, you come back to yourself, and you start speaking and being and acting authentically, like who you really are, and being that with another human being with the intention of causing intimacy, of causing connectivity, of causing sharing a shared reality. Now, you can't make another person want to share with you, okay? All you could do is share your heart out, be as authentic as you possibly can, truly love, but in the sense of not loving like I want something from you, but loving like giving fulfillment, giving wholeness, giving completion, granting beingness to another human being. That is an expression of love. To grant beingness, allowing them to be however they are and however they are not, because they're not here to fulfill your dreams. They are not here to fulfill your dreams. You may be like my previous caller. You may be the fulfillment of someone's dreams, but you're not here to fulfill their dreams. That's not why you're here. You may meet a person that is the one that you've always dreamed of, but they're not here to fulfill your dreams. They may fulfill your dreams, but that's not why they're here. Do you understand? So that leaves you in a place of being all that you can be, giving all that you can give, and giving it without the attachment. This is the true sense of loyalty. Loyalty to yourself first. You cannot be loyal to another until you're loyal to yourself. You can't be monogamous, and monogamy is simply an expression of I will only sleep with and share my money, time, energy, sex, life force with you, with one other human being, because I said so, because I choose to. That is a decision that, or a choice that people make in their life. Can you unmake that choice? Absolutely. Yes, you can. You can unmake that choice. You can revoke that promise. You could break that promise, and you could move on in your life. However, I'm proposing that you keep your word. I'm proposing that you stick with your word, that you don't give your word until you mean it, and then when you do, you stick with that and have it be an expression of who you truly are. I know that there are a lot of other models for relationship in our modern time, and there have been throughout history, so it's not really modern at all. Okay, but there's many new models of relationships, and there's what open marriages, there's a swinging lifestyle that people call the lifestyle, where people swap partners. There's relationships in which the wife tells the husband, or the husband tells the wife, you can go be with other people, just don't tell me about it, I don't want to hear about it. There's a lot of different models for relationships, and then there's models that many of you know about, where a man can have several wives and so forth. These are all models of relationships, and I assert that the only ones that actually work, in which both people become all that they were meant to be, are able to fulfill themselves. And by fulfill, I mean like you've gone to the edges of what's possible for you, and you've pushed into that what's possible and found that there was a whole nother world of possibility beyond your wildest dreams, beyond who you thought you could be, the possibility of happiness and joy and vitality and full self-expression and health and wealth that you hadn't imagined, that was beyond the limits of your imagination. Those kind of relationships don't happen when part of your energy is going out the door to somebody else, or if there's something that you have to hide, if there's anything that you're hiding in your relationship, if there's anything that you or the other person in your relationship is hiding and has to hide in order to maintain the status quo, in order for the relationship to continue to survive, then you are simply surviving in an inauthentic relationship to reality, inauthentic relationship with the other person. And trust me, they know. You've never fooled anyone. We all have an innate ability, and I spoke about this earlier in the show, of directly knowing things. We have a way of directly knowing things unless we make an effort to block that off, unless we throw up beliefs and conditioning and thought forms that block off our direct knowing. Like you could say, no, I can't know anything directly. I have no way of knowing that. If it's not logical, it doesn't make sense, I can't know it for sure. If that's your belief, if that's your thought form, if that's what the format of your thinking goes like, well then yes, you've effectively blocked off your ability to directly know stuff. It doesn't mean that you don't know it, it means that you are covering so that you don't know it. If you're hiding something, or your mate is hiding something in your relationship, you need to begin to start to get real with each other. And listen, if it's been a lot of years, you may need to go see a therapist or a coach or somebody who is a neutral party, who is for you, who is for your betterment, for your well-being, and get that cleaned up, complete the past, and then, and only then, when you've completed the past, can you move on creatively and powerfully and fulfill a future that is worth having. Okay? Now, I'm just got a few minutes left, and I would like to share with you some of the resources that we have at Embrace Growth that are designed to help you get to who you want to be, to have your life be fulfilled, to give you the tools so that you could effectively navigate through the treacherous land of relationships and life in a world of disloyal and inauthentic people as well. So if this life interests you, let me give you a few resources. First of all, there's our website, embracegrowth.com. I invite you to go there and to explore that, to check out the products. We have books, CDs, DVDs. Right now we have 5 new DVDs in Farsi. So for those of you who like to hear some of the subjects that we're talking about, we have over 36 seminars that we've done in the past 2 or 3 years. And we've done them mostly in English, but now we're starting to do them in Farsi. My wife, Dr. Sayan, we've been doing seminars in Farsi, and we've been recording them and editing them and putting music with them, so they're beautifully packaged. And so you can find those on our website, and they're about all kinds of various subjects. You can go check it out for yourself. I highly recommend the DVDs, and if you buy several of them, you get a special price. Check that out. They're all online. All right? So those are the 2 things that I wanted to share with you the most. I'll be back here next week on Love Talk. I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. I'm Gregory Morgan.